It's your art teacher Shanika Grimes, and today we are going to learn how to pinch this very simple pot. You can use raw clay if you have, you can use air dry clay, or you can use plasticine or Play-Doh, any soft clay-like substance, even modeling clay. So we're just going to advance our fine motor skills and strengthen our fingers so that we can do the lead up for more advanced projects. Okay, so I'll see you guys later. Let's have fun pinching clay. Here is what you will need: a plastic knife or craft stick, water, and you will also need a plastic table cover so you don't get the table dirty, and a paintbrush to help you smooth. Okay, let's get started. So I have a container full of clay, so I'm just gonna pinch pieces off for the kids and roll them into a ball. So you need to have a nice smooth ball. Make sure that your clay is a nice smooth ball. So the kids have started rolling out those cracks, and they're going to ensure that the clay is as smooth as humanly possible. You want to have a good base to work with for your clay, so that when you are molding it out into a bowl, that it has very little cracks in it. Sorry, a pot. So we're just preparing our clay. We have a bit of paper down, but in the end, some of the kids got their paper too wet and messy. Mine stayed okay. So if you're comfortable with a piece of paper, you can pause and go get some paper now. But if you think the kids are going to get the clay all papery, well, don't bother with that. It worked for most of them, but there was that one child who got the paper all soggy and it was a mess. Alright, so we're rolling that ball out as best we can. Ooh, that looks good. Show them your clay. It's a nice ball. Very good work. Step 1 complete. We're waiting on this one last ball, and I think he's ready. Okay, so now we're going to push both of our thumbs into the center of the ball. You're not going right through the other side. You want to squeeze the sides now. Once you have that center pressed in, you don't want the bottom too thin. Then you are going to pinch the sides all the way around. And you're going to make sure that it remains even. So as you're pinching, you don't want one side to be bigger than the other. Pinch it and twist in your hand, and you're expanding the bowl, the sides of the bowl. You want to try to keep your sides as straight up as possible. Also, for those of you out here using Play-Doh, you don't want to add water at any point during this video. So if you don't have air dry clay and you're not using a type of clay, if you're using modeling clay or Play-Doh, please don't add any water. That won't be necessary because your clay will never dry. We need to use water on the air dry clay because it's going to start to dry as we're working. So once you have your bowl pinched out like this, her bottom was a bit thick, so I'm sending her to squeeze down the bottom just a little bit more. Right. So that her bottom is nice and equal and even to the rest of the bowl. Use your thumbs a lot and use your other 4 fingers on the outside of the bowl. Alright, so we're cupping the bowl. Very well, very well. We're cupping the bowl, and then we're going to pat the bowl face down onto our surface. If you use that paper, you're going to pat the bowl down onto that surface gently. Don't pat it too hard or it will squish your bowl flat. And you're going to get the top to a nice flat finish when you do that. Now you're looking at the rim of the bowl, the area where my hands just went around. And you want to make sure that that circle is even. So you're just gently pinching now the thicker areas. You have to be very, very, very patient. Alright, gently pinch that circle. You're looking at it straight on. You're looking at that rim around the top and making sure that your circle is very even. This is really an art of patience. You want to make sure to squeeze gently now. These are looking so cute. Look at the little tiny hands. I had to give one of my students a bit more clay because his got too soggy. It's okay if you have to start over. Just roll the ball back up and start the steps from the beginning. Don't fret about it. Alright, so we're making sure that that circle is as neat as possible. I'm lending a helping hand because hers started to get a bit flat, so I'm just gently reshaping it so that the sides are nice and even. And she's helping too. Alright, there she goes. I think she has it now. Alright, same thing. Just demonstrating how you need to keep it cupped. Keep it bent in at the top and the sides. Okay? Right. So you want to keep the sides up. Don't press them too hard. In the bottom now, I'm just patting the lumps out of the bottom flat with my thumb. And I'm using my other hand to keep the bowl up straight. I gave the bottom a little pat so it would come flat as well. So I'm focusing on the corners and gently twisting my bowl while patting the bottom flat. I'm demonstrating on another student's work and I think she has it now. Alright, if you're too aggressive and impatient, your work will not respond very well. You have to relax and make sure that you fall into what you're doing. Don't think about it being finished. Just think about the moment here where we are now and doing the best that you can. Alright, I'm constantly pressing against the sides of my bowl to make sure that it stays tidy. We are very, very, very hard at work. I'm pressing the bottom of my bowl and especially in the corners so that I get a nice edge on the inside of my bowl. Patting it down, pressing into the corners a little bit with my fingers so that the sides are straight up and the bottom is even. Take your time and your nails can't be too long if you want to do this properly. So you want to have neat nails and that will help you to work a lot better. You see how slowly I'm doing this because you have to look at the clay, examine for lumps and uneven spaces, and you're just squeezing so you can actually see the bowl transforming. So you want to squeeze gently and even out your bowl as much as possible. We haven't used any water up until this point because we simply don't need it. Most clay comes moist already. So it's only for refining that we get to the water. Just patting the top a little bit. Okay. We want to keep that round circular shape in place. You really have to be gentle. We are doing some detailing squeezes now, and we want to make sure every lump and bump has been given some attention. Don't drift. Don't start to think about cookies. Okay, I'm just giving that a few more pats on the front because it started to warp. And you want to use your vision and your discretion to determine what needs fixing. I am just being so patient with this right now. Are you feeling patient? If you're getting frustrated, just breathe and relax. You're going to do the best you can do. All right. So now we're going to put that to the side and we're going to get another piece of clay. So I'm giving everyone another piece of clay. Because we have to make some little decals that will go on the side of our pot bowl to decorate it. Okay, so we have our plastic knives and we're gonna roll this out. You can use another flat tool that will help you to cut the clay. It doesn't have to be a plastic knife, just use something blunt and flat. Okay, we're showing off our bowls and how fancy and fabulous they look now. Wonderful. I hope you did a good job up to this point. Looking nice. Zoom in on that. Final touches. And then we are going to roll out another smaller ball. Pound it down. Pound, 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 pound. As hard as you can. Just move your bowl out of the way and you're going to flatten that smaller ball. You want to make it like pancake flat. And then we're going to get our plastic knife or blunt thin object. It needs to be nice and stiff. Maybe an old business card might do the trick. And we're going to slice it. I want you to think of a simple shape that we can use to decorate the side of the bowl. Right now I am cutting mine into these small triangles. So once I cut, I'm using my fingers to smooth out the edges, etc. And then I'm just going to rest that to the side after I run a couple fixes on this other bowl over here. Alright, so I have one triangle. I'm going to need about 8. Try not to make them taller than your pot. So I'm going to cut. Pinch, 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 pinch. Ensure that it is smoothed out and it looks really nice and finished. I'm just checking the size against my pot. That's perfect. And I'm going to continue doing this till I have 8. I have 3 so far. That's 4. Some of the kids did little hearts. Someone ended up doing a nice little leaf, which is like an oval with 2 pointy edges. So I'm just going to keep this going until I have all 8. Take your time. You don't want to take too long or leave your pot unattended, because if you are using air dry clay, the atmosphere is going to take the moisture out of the clay, and air dry clay becomes somewhat damaged when you re-moisten it heavily. So you definitely want to work this through to the end and then take a break. Alright. Now I have 5 little triangles. I have, how many more do I have to go? Okay, I have 3 more to go to make 8. That was one of the 3, so now I have 2 more to go. Remember to smooth the edges out with your fingers. You might need to flatten it just a little bit if it's too puffy. Yes, squeeze. That's a nice triangle. I do love making things with my hands. And even if you tell yourself, well, I draw, sculpting will strengthen your fingers for drawing. So it's always best to be well-rounded when you're an artist. If you do what you're good at all the time, you might be limiting yourself. Alright, I'm just putting away my extra clay. Flattening my triangles to make sure that they're not too thick. If they're too thick, they take even longer for the pot to dry. Alright. Woo. And this triangle shape is a nice 2-dimensional simple shape. This falls into the category of geometric shapes. Yay. I'm just making sure to tidy everything as best as possible, because when I attach it, I won't have a lot of room to work on it further without distorting my pot or damaging my pot. So make sure each of them is nice and thinned out, smooth, so that when we attach, we can attach very carefully. All right, really take your time. You can use your knife or tool to help keep the edges nice and straight. And the thing about clay is that you really have to learn patience. That's one of the most important lessons about art. How mature are you? You know? How relaxed are you? How long can you sit still for and be focused? I am just trying to perfect these triangles and make sure they're as nice as possible. Every day I do my best work. And that is how I get better. That is how I maintain greatness. You have to put your best foot forward on everything you try to do. So I'm making sure that each and every little piece of this project gets my full attention. Okay, I have 2 more little triangles to give my attention to. Yay! And then another step. So I'm just gonna squeeze this in. Make sure the corners are nice and pointy. Make sure it's nice and thinned out. Woo! These are looking like little crackers, like they look like little food, like little crackers. But don't eat them. That's bad for you. Definitely don't eat that. All right. Okay, a little close-up of how I'm shaping. Very good. I'm just testing that on the side. And now we're gonna get ready to score. Scoring is the process of scraping your clay. You have to scrape the piece you want the clay to be attached to and the piece that's being attached. And then you're gonna put the 2 sides that are scraped to face each other. I'm gonna give an example shortly. Okay, just getting our waters together because you will need a little bit of water for this part. So go and get your water. If you are doing Play-Doh or modeling clay, this won't be necessary. All you do from this point is press on to attach. You can still score and practice your scoring technique. I'm going to take a break from moving on to another step to just use the brush to do some final smoothing of my bowl. Because once I attach these triangles, there is no way that I can go back to smoothing certain areas. So I want to smooth out as much as possible, wet that brush only a little bit and rub back and forth. It's going to start to get a bit sticky and only then do you need to add more water. You don't want it to be wet and slushy. That's going to soften it and make it really out of shape. So we're taking our time and we're using this to look for cracks, 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 cracks. Any cracks, 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 cracks? Do you see cracks? If you see any cracks, smooth them out with the brush, 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 brush. I'm using my finger to help a little bit there because it needed a little bit of pressure to get rid of that crack. I'm going to do this everywhere that I see a crack. On the inside corners, sharpening those corners on the inside. Woo. Remember, you're not pressing in too hard at this point because you should have refined the majority of the bowl with your fingers. We are just doing a little bit more smoothing and removing cracks that might affect the bowl as it is drying. All right, this is looking pretty good. You have to just relax and do your best work every single day. That is where a really good artist comes from. Dedication and patience every single day. Do something artistic, even if it's a little drawing. Keep those fingers at the top of their game. Keep them working. Alright, I'm going to put the water in the center here so that we can all have access. You only need to moisten your fingertips and for the scoring. So you only need a very little bit of water. I go back to working on the edges of my bowl. I'm just dipping my thumb and my index finger in water. And I'm working on the bowl and those final bits of smoothing out. I can be a bit obsessive about making things look nice, and you should be too. That is where better comes from. So right now I'm going to move the paper. Move it out of the way. Because once I start using that water especially, the paper could become quite damaged. But we have a plastic surface that can be wiped off. So I decided to rest my clay on this lid that I just dragged forward there so that it wouldn't stick to the table. So that plate I asked you for earlier, that's what this is for. Just resting it down. Don't worry, air dry clay is normally non-toxic. So once you give it a wash, everything should be good as new. Alright, I'm giving them covers as well so that they can rest their clay down on. Now that we're doing this extreme final smoothing, I do love my things to be tidy. You're not pulling it out. You want to make sure that the side of the bowl stays upright. Okay? So don't stretch it or pull it or press too hard on it, because then it's going to get really floppy. You want to work that water in until it gets too sticky for you to continue, and then that's when you add more water. You don't just keep adding water, because it's going to deform your bowl severely and make it very floppy and very lumpy. This is a lot of hard work, you guys. I just know it in my soul that you have the absolute patience to get your pot to perfection, to do a great job. I can't wait to see your pictures, see how hard you worked, see how great it looks. Ooh, that got a little bit wet. You see how the water is pooling there? That's what we want to avoid. So you're not adding more water until... I'm just going to pour about some of his water into the pot. You're not adding more water until it gets sticky first. And it's hard to rub. I tried my best to work surgery on it, but don't be afraid to start over if you run into an accident, okay? Ooh. So just dipping only on your fingers. It's hard to control how much water to add, but just listen. You are adding a little bit of water and you're rubbing the pot smooth until it gets sticky. Now we're scoring. So scoring is like an X and O's kind of shape. You go horizontal, then you go vertical. And you're only doing it to the estimated size of what you want to attach. Then I just dip the plastic object, the plastic knife, into water, and that's enough water. So I'm going to do those horizontal and vertical lines now on the piece I want to attach. Mine is a little triangle. So score it until it looks a little rough. Don't press hard. You're just rubbing the object to disturb the surface. If you press hard, you might cut your piece in half, and that would not be good. So you're going to attach these by putting the two scored surfaces or the two rough surfaces together. Okay? And you're going to press them together gently. Press it together gently. Make sure the corners of whatever shape you have are down. Don't try to add too complicated a shape. Simple shapes can be nice. Alright, I'm just taking the brush, a little bit of water and like a slip will press out when I squeeze them together. And you're just using the brush to smooth out any scoring that went past the edge of what you attached. If you are using modeling clay or Play-Doh, you can still score and attach, but you will not need any water at all. Now I'm going the exact opposite side to what I attached just now, and I'm going to score horizontal and vertical. I did it more like diagonal and diagonal the opposite way, and a drip of water. Score what I want to attach. Take my time and really score it. Make those score lines nice and close together. If you have air dried clay, you want to bond, or if this is regular clay from the earth, same principles. And remember, Play-Doh or plasticine or modeling clay, no water. I'm just using the brush again to wipe away the slip. And then I'm going to go in quarters. So I'm going to go the other direction in half. So I'm going to keep putting it between the two that I just placed down. So score quickly. Don't press too hard. Remember, you're just disturbing the surface with a soft rub so that the two pieces will attach. Clay is really good for your fingers. It's very strengthening to your hands, and it will overall make you a better artist. A little bit of water on there, just a drop is all you need, and it will spread through the cracks that you just made. And then you want to make sure your object is on the correct direction and squeeze it gently. You don't want to squeeze so hard that you warp your bowl. You work so hard to get it this smooth. All right. This is going to be such good work. Remember to brush around those edges. And then the opposite side. So I now have the triangles dividing my bowl into quarters almost. Remember, we have 8 to put on. So now that we have quarters, we'll put one in between each space, in the center of each space, and then that will bring us down to the 8. So we're scoring again. Don't press too hard. Do you have the focus and skill required to be an artist? And if you don't have it, are you ready to work as hard as possible to get it? Use your tiny fingers or your large fingers if you're a mom and dad and you decide to join in. And I want you to work on this piece and make it as nice as you can. Alrighty then. As you can see, some of my students haven't gotten to the end of this process as yet, and that is okay. Now we're going to add in that last set of triangles by first scoring. X and O's, X and O's, X and O's. Not too deep. Just a drip of water again. And we're going to use the piece that we're going to attach. We want to score that lightly, as always. Just a drip of water to moisten, not too much. And we're going to place that in between each pair of triangles that are already on there. So that's right in the center. I'm using my brush again to wipe away the slip that's going to squeeze out once we push them together. Opposite side. We're going to score again. I know that this can be difficult to get. That's why I'm making sure to repeat. And I'm making sure to be very thorough in this video because clay can be very difficult. If at any point you need to start over, just press that pause button, pull that the video all the way back to the beginning and start over. Don't be afraid, don't be ashamed. One of my students that was even physically in the space getting my help had to start over 5 times before it was right. So that speaks to your strength of character if you can endure and if you can comfortably correct yourself without fussing. Alright, I think we just have 2 more. I saw a lump there, so I just had to stop and go back a second. That's the type of person I am. If I see a mistake, I'm just gonna fix it out. Smooth out those extra lumps. Because this has to be like, wow, that's fire. Wow. Okay, back to business. I see a little slip there that eased through that I missed. Smooth that out. And then back to scoring. These are the last 2 bits. You needn't worry because my kids that were following along, they were still at the point where they were creating their pieces to attach when I was attaching mine. So you do not need to rush. The reason we have a nice video is so you can press that pause button and be like, hold up, hold on for me a minute, and then come back to it. Then press play again. Like, pause, art teacher. Right there. Very good. Okay, 1 more for me. I got distracted by smoothing again, guys. Don't worry, I'll be back. Alright, that's looking so cute. Now, this is my last one. And I hope that in explaining myself about the scoring that you've caught on, I'm going to see in your work when it dries is going to be the ultimate test. Because if you did not score properly and add water, especially if you're using air dry clay, it is going to crack. If you're using modeling clay, you can just practice several times doing this so that you can get your shaping and your fingers going. It's still a really great exercise. Alright, that was my last triangle. Boom, ba-da-da. Dun, 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 dun. Woo. It's going really well. And I'm still obsessing over the lumps in the bottom of my bowl pot. Alright, I think that looks pretty good. Let's give it a little twirl. Look for any more lumps. I'm pulling it off of the plate. Be gentle when you're doing this so that I can show you how it looks. Alright, that looks pretty good. I'm just giving it that one last touch up. Patting it with gentle love. Gentle love for my pot. We came a long way together, pot. It's been me and you for a while, pot. And I am thankful for this journey. Yes. And the others are going to show you a little bit of their progress. Yay! So Gio had to start over. And he's handling that quite well.
This is what's going to happen. You'll have a pee. You'll have to restart from all from the beginning. This is what it looks like when you add too much water. And this is what it looks like. No, it's not. And the other one is what it looks like. And this is what it looks like when you don't add too much water.
So when it dries, we can paint these. Next week Monday. It takes a while to dry, yeah. If it's air dry clay, it takes a while to fully dry. So it will be ready for the next day, but we have to go and enjoy the weekend and edit some content. So it'll be dry. Don't do that. It'll be dry for Monday when we come back.
Get air dry clay for now.
Gio's pinching his open. It's coming pretty good actually. Let's see the inside of your mini bowl. So he's trying to make a smaller one because his first 3 didn't go so well. So his persistence is to be admired. And I think he's getting it now. Pretty fast now. So if you mess up the first time, don't be discouraged. You just fix it and go again.
I have to do it
So you know you have to minimize the water now, Gio.
Yes.
You know you had too much water.
You had maximum water. This brush can water. This brush is gonna
Keep going.
Stop.
Keep going.
This. Yeah, I have to use this knife because I can't find. Jill hoarded all of the thing. Thank you. Thank you. You hoarded. Okay, I need it. Do not add too much water.
Watch your hands.
Sorry. And that's the best. Yes. What do you think is the best? The best. All of us, moms. All of us. Who's the second best?
It doesn't matter.
Shawnica's.
At least Gio's not trying to big up himself.
Oh, my little brush. See what I did? Oh, tell me nonsense. She went over.
Hey, what to tell you? What to tell you?
They tell me, hey, you got me star. Ha ha. My pot look better than yours.
Yeah.
Other than like, ha ha, your pot look the worst. Now look at me.
Look at
With
you.
a small pot.
Huh? It look nice. It's a nice small pot. Cute little leaf on this side and everything. Very good. And you're persistent 4 times later.
5, you mean. This is my 5th chance.
Wow. Y'all too cute. Your little artworks and your little tiny hands.
I put my earrings on my necklace on my chin. Anything I want to put in here that's small, I can put in.
How many earrings you gonna fit in there?
About 1,500.
About 1,500 earrings? You have so many?
I have a lot of it in everyone.
Nice.
She really does.
Okay.
She's not joking.
Y'all beautiful children. Alright, hey, watching. You TikTok got one of fluffing at hopscotch so hard. No, Shanika, give her a turn. You missed one. Up to now, not one of them went through this properly. Alright! Finally! Oh, okay. Okay, that was a flop, but come back up. Whoa, yeah, whoa, yeah, whoa, that was a flop. Only Shanika Sator could get this done. I want y'all at home to try drawing a hopscotch with chalk on the driveway. If you have grass, you can still paint the hopscotch on the grass. And see if y'all remember how to play this, because this is sad. Gio, you know how to do it yet? I'm looking out. Okay. You skipped a whole number. What? 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 Alright, let me show you guys how it's done. It's my turn. Of course we do. I drew this, okay? Yep. Yes, applause for me. I'm the reigning champion. Sorry, you can be second. You ever had a dream that I could what I want to do what I can? That's what she saw. That's what she saw. Mommy, Auntie.